Hey, welcome to River Cities, the show about the great river cities of Newport and St. Paul Park. I'm your host, Jon Lyksett, and today we're back at the Greater East Area Model Railroad Club, and we're checking out their model train display. Joining me again is Ed Petrie, the chair of the Greater East Area Model Railroad Club. Thanks for being with us again today.
It's nice to be here.
So, what do you guys do here? It's a little obvious, but what happens in this room?
Well, what we're trying to do is model a particular railroad. So we have what we call staging yards in the basement. Our north staging is representative of Duluth. So we come down the tracks through Pine City into St. Paul, and then from there we go down the Milwaukee tracks through Newport and down along the river to Eau Claire. That's the part that we're modeling. We're trying to do it prototypical, so we'll have a waybill and car card system. So it'll tell you where that particular car goes as far as what industry, what town. So it'll come into a yard from our staging, and then the yard master there will look at that car, put it on the correct train that's going to switch that particular town. So that's what we're trying to do here.
So you kind of run it like a real railroad.
Correct, yeah. We don't just orbit the world, although we do that once in a while just to test things out.
Sure.
But otherwise we actually spot the cars, pick them up just like a real railroad.
So for somebody that's never been here before, where are you guys located?
We're located in Newport, next to the Newport Town Hall. This is the old town hall of Newport that was saved by the city, and we managed to take over the interior of it.
So there's a lot of different trains, a lot of different models here. What are we looking at? What type of trains are you guys running?
Well, we run passenger trains, through freights, way freights. The way freights, they switch the towns. Through freights will go from point A to point B, for instance. And then the passenger trains, of course, they'll stop at the various stations to simulate picking up passengers, dropping them off. The area up here is, we're trying to model a representative of downtown or lower town St. Paul, okay, with the depot and First National Bank building, which are some of the more prominent buildings that people would recognize. And then we have a little area down here that's going to be a truck transfer on the rail.
Awesome. Like
the Milwaukee had down below the bluffs down in St. Paul.
And what scale are these models?
This is HO. There's N gauge and Z gauge, which is smaller, and then there's S gauge and O gauge that's larger, and G gauge, which is considered a garden railroad type. But we're in the HO scale here.
So how did this organization come to be?
Well, we organized it as a nonprofit educational club. And that's why with the tower, which we saw before, we like the public to come in and we explain how they control the trains. And the same thing here, we have kids come, we have Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts have visited, working towards their badges and that. And we explain how the railroads ran, and we can show them how we switch cars and so forth to physically show them how the real railroad did it, at least close. So we're a nonprofit organization, educational.
So this really isn't just a bunch of toys too, right? This is some serious business in here.
This is big boys' toys. We don't just run trains around in a circle and that. We try to simulate things that represent like the lower town of St. Paul. We have, each locomotive has what we call a decoder in it. Okay. And we can program that to whatever number is on the locomotive or a different number. And then we dial that into our throttles, and then we can control that. We can blow the whistle. We can ring the bell, turn the headlights on and off, different things like that.
So downstairs, I understand that is kind of the mainframe of all of this
stuff.
stuff.
Well, downstairs we have what we call staging yards. So it's just a lot of tracks where we store our trains.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest of the place. Could we go downstairs and maybe check out the setup down there?
Sure.
But before we do that, let's head over to St. Paul Park, where a family brightens the neighborhood each year during the holidays.
Well, starting right after Halloween, I start to pull everything down out of the attic and I start to create the Winter Wonderland. This is probably my 6th year doing this. And the first year I did it, I just put lights up around the house and I had no yard decor whatsoever. It was just lighting the house, and the kids got such joy out of it that it has expanded every year since then. My PVC hoops, and those are some of probably my most fun that I enjoy making. And then you grab your youngest and you tell them to spin the pole. This stuff is kind of expensive when you buy it in the store, so I like to look on the internet and find creative ideas that other people have done on their own yards with PVC or lattice or other items that they use. And so I take kind of creation from those and then just incorporate it into my own set year after year. I got the 2 new sleighs this year. I just built that tree yesterday in the rain.
Love.
I built that out of PVC and some hooks. What you can buy in the store, I just linked a 10-foot stick together, made a hoop, and then twisted. I pre-drilled all the holes, put hooks in it, and then just looped them through.
Very cool.
I let the kids this year actually decide where a lot of the yard decor was going to go. So as they pulled it out of the garage, I'm like, go place it somewhere in the yard and tell me where you want it. And so the neighbor kids and my kids alone this year kind of helped place where everything was going to go this year.
We have the toy nutcrackers, the owl that's right up there. It's actually very high up. I always think of that as not as a waterfall. I kind of think of it as a moving spider. Most part, we should get a Santa that goes in there, so then he'll be flying the sleigh.
I enjoy lighting the house the same way, but when it comes to the yard is a blank canvas every year, and items end up in different spots every year. The big one for the year, linking the 2 yards together, and this whole block will be ready to go here and in full holiday cheer. I can get power right there. Good. All right, coming down. And I got power running to the cord. I do it because I love the joy it brings to the community. As I set this up, neighbors walk by and they take a look at it and they're like, oh, that's a new piece this year. Oh, you did that different this year. And I just love kind of the joy and attention it brings to the holiday season. And I really, really enjoy the joy it brings as people drive by the house and they slow down and they look in awe at just how lit up this yard really becomes.
It just brings joy to my brother, my sister, me, my mom, my dad. My dog sometimes comes out and he barely can see any lights, but he still likes it.
Especially with having young children now and the joy and magic that they get out of it every year. Seeing the house light up, seeing the inside of the house light up, and then just the joy that they get when they see the presents under the tree Christmas morning is it's worth its weight in gold.
You can check out the Sison family home, which is located on 808 Portland Avenue. We're back at the Greater East Area Model Railroad Club with Ed Petrie. And so tell me again, Ed, what's going on in this room here?
Well, this is in our lower or the basement of our club room. On this side is what we call our north staging. This is going to be our east staging, which represents like Milwaukee or Chicago. The other one would represent being in Duluth, because that's the part of the railroad that we're modeling.
Sure. So
this is where we store most of our cars, and then we'll have waybills and car cards down here that we make up trains. Through trains will go up to the yards up there and drop off blocks of cars, and then that yard master will locate the car where it's going, and he'll put it on the specific train that's going to switch that town and spot it at that industry. So
That's kind of an important question then too. So how do these go from downstairs all the way upstairs?
Well, we go through what we call a helix, but we first will go out through this opening here on a bridge and get into the main level of the floor upstairs. Then we go through a helix and we come into what we call Newport. At Newport, we can determine whether it's an eastbound train, westbound train, if it's going to come out in Pine City, or if it's going to come out in St. Paul, or if it's going to come out in Eau Claire,
Sure.
which is different parts of the railroad. So that's what we're modeling part.
Great. There's a lot of electrical work that's got to go into this, I imagine.
Yes, there is. And if you notice all the switches along here, each track has an on and off. So if we have a train sitting there and we don't want it idling or the lights on or whatever, we can turn the power off for that particular track.
All right, you've got me curious now. Can we go take a look at the power station for
Yes,
all
we
this?
can.
Awesome. Which way? You lead the way.
We'll go down here.
That way? All right. Wow, this is something. So how does this work? What does this all
Well,
do?
these are the power supplies that take the 110 volt and convert it to DC. And then these are boosters, and these are PM42s. Now each one of these has 4 districts. So on the railroad we have 40 different districts. So each section is broken down. So if you get a short in one, it doesn't shut the whole thing down. It keeps the rest of the railroad keeps running.
So for you guys upstairs building these things, you not only have to know how to do modeling, but you have to know a little bit about electricity. What else do you have to know about?
Well, we got to know electricity. We have to know scenery, how to lay track, because laying track is very particular, because you have expansion and contraction with your bench work. So you have to allow for that on the track. Otherwise, your track's going to either go like this or it's going to bowl, whichever. So it's very particular on how you have to know how to do it. And then putting down the scenery and people making buildings, people making the trees. So there's something for everybody, because each one doesn't have electrical talents and some of them don't have track laying talents. So there's something for everybody to do on a layout like this.
Well, I've seen quite a lot of cool stuff. I think I'd love to take a shot at driving one of the trains. Would that be all right?
That would be fine.
Awesome.
We'll show you.
Well, we'll go do that, but first, let's head over to St. Paul Park and meet the newest city council member.
The duties of the office of council member
of the City of St. Paul Park
of the City of St. Paul Park
in the County of Washington
in the County of Washington
and State of Minnesota
and State of Minnesota
to the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
to the best of my judgment and abilities, so help me God.
Great, thank you so much. You're in.
I'm from a small town in Missouri, not Missouri, but Missouri. And I think it's just important to know about your community. I think it's important to contribute. And selfishly, I want to learn a little bit more about my community as well as equally give back to the community. So it's kind of a balance. I've lived in St. Paul Park for 21 years. I've been on the Public Safety Commission for several years. I chaired it. I've just enjoyed the topics that our commission has dealt with for the last few years. I'd like to see more housing and more businesses. So I'd like to see a few more mom and pop stores in the area. I think it's going to be a good experience for me, and I really am. It's not a cliche, but I really am looking forward to this. I've had to give up something to be on the council because I'm a member of my church's handbell group, and I have to give that up because we practice on Monday nights. So that was a tough decision, but I don't regret it, and I think this will be well worth that sacrifice, if you will.
Foote took over for Jennifer Cheeseman, who resigned from the council in August. Now let's head over to the studio for our mayor's message with Mayor Sandi Dingle.
Hi, I'm Sandi Dingle, Mayor in St. Paul Park. I want to thank all of those who got out to vote on November 7th and allowed me to continue as mayor for the next 2 years. I'm humbled and grateful, so thank you. As mayor, I'm asked to attend a lot of fun events. There's celebrations like Veterans Day at the Legion, and there are fundraising events like the spaghetti dinner that benefited our local food shelf, or serving soup and bread to families that benefit Feed Our Starving Children and Sawashko Cares. And then there's bagging groceries at Cub Food that raise money to help the Friends in Need food shelf. There's also an opportunity to present awards. Most recently, I attended a ceremony at Oltman Junior High, where the new Park Lions honored the 7th grade winners and runners-up of the New Park Lions Peace Poster Contest. It was an honor to award the first 2 place winners, Brielle Hamilton and Arachi O'Brien. Each received a $50 gift card. The runners-up were EJ Eli and Maddie Sand. The winners will have an opportunity to compete regionally and nationally. The winning artwork will be used for greeting cards for promoting peace. There's a new Explore tab on our website. You can find all kinds of information on our local businesses, parks, volunteer opportunities, and even snow adventures. Check it out often, as it's always being updated. The Park and Rec Commission has been pretty busy. They're planning all sorts of fun events for the coming winter months. On December 28th, they're planning another glow-in-the-dark sledding event on the hill behind City Hall from 5 to 7 p.m. There will be free glow sticks and refreshments in the fire hall where families can warm up. On January 12th, February 16th, and March 16th, these are all tentative bunco nights. Times and locations are yet to be determined. Now, I participated in the past, and it was a ton of fun, and I met many new folks. So you'll definitely want to check out our website for those great events as well. Winterfest is planned for January 27th at Whitbread Park, again this year, in the warming house from 1 to 3. There will be lots of fun skating and free refreshments. Even if you don't have skates, come anyway. There's a number of loaner skates available in the warming house. In January, the Park and Rec Commission is planning to kick off their Adopt a Park program at City Hall. The exact date and time is yet to be determined, but again, check out our website often. All of these events will be listed there and updated as needed. Now, a couple of housekeeping items that I want to remind folks about is there's a winter parking ban from November 1st until April 1st from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. So please don't leave your cars parked in the street or you'll get a ticket. Also, our City Hall office hours have changed. We are open from 7:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. Now, please note that the offices will close at 11:30 on Friday, December 22nd, and they'll be closed December 25th for the Christmas holiday. Also, January 1st for the New Year's holiday. Now, I want to wish each of you a very wonderful holiday season and a very happy New Year.
Thanks, Mayor Dingle. Well, we're back at the Railroad Club, and this is going to be the really fun part. Now we get a chance to play around with some of this stuff. So,
Right, we're going to show you how to run something.
yeah, tell me how it works.
Okay, first of all, this is a throttle. It's a
Okay.
wireless, but we have to plug it in to program it.
Okay.
So we'll dial in, this happens to be a locomotive number 28.
Okay.
So I'll dial in 28, and I plug it in here,
Sure.
pushing a button to capture. When I get the green light,
There it is. Okay.
then I've got that locomotive programmed to this throttle.
Okay.
So now this is forward, that's right reverse, middle is neutral.
Okay.
So all you do is turn this dial to start it out.
Awesome. So what type of engine
This-
am I driving today?
This particular one is a steam locomotive, 280. It's called a consolidation.
So when you say 280, what does that mean for somebody?
The two is a small wheels in the front which kind of guide it, and then there's 4 drivers on each side, so it's an 8-wheel driver driven wheels.
So this is a HO scale model,
Right.
which we talked about before. Why HO versus some of the other size?
Well, HO is you can get a lot in a room, and yet it's big enough for operation where you can uncouple, because we use a little probe to go between the couplers to uncouple the cars.
Okay.
You can use magnets, but we don't have them on our layout. N scale is pretty small for operation. You can get a lot more in the room. O gauge and S gauge are nice operating size, but you need a lot of space for them because they're larger. So HO is very popular.
What are we looking at right here? This looks like part of the line, right?
These switches control these tracks, so we can turn them on and off.
Okay.
This is the controller for the turntable.
Oh, wow.
And then we'll have switches for the locomotives to come out of the roundhouse.
I'm just blown away at the level of detail of these models. I mean, this one in particular here, it's making noises. Wow.
Yeah, it's sitting there, and as the steam pressure builds up, it releases it on the pump. There's a pump on it. If you push on this one, you can ring the bell.
Nice.
And push it again too.
Okay.
Then if you push the number 3,
Okay.
that'll blow the whistle.
Wow.
Then this is a short whistle.
Okay.
So when you come to a crossing, you blow 2 longs, a short, and a long.
2 longs,
A short
a short.
and a long. Oh, you gotta hold it down a little bit.
There you go.
You can let go of it.
Cool. All right. I think I know how it all works. So I'm dialing this to go forward.
Yep.
All right. I think I'm ready to take it for a spin. Is that all right?
All right. Let's
All right.
see.
This is like a childhood dream coming true. I get to drive a steam train. Here we go. Ooh. Ed, thanks a lot for letting me try this out. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
There's a lot more to show here from the Railroad Club, but first, let's head over to a piece that Ann Simpson produced about the history of Grey Cloud Island.
In the 1830s, about 40 families of the Metawakanton Native American tribe moved to a place they named Spirit Wood. The treaties of 1837, by which the Dakota ceded their lands east of the Mississippi to the United States, required that all Dakota villages be moved, so the tribe moved to Pine Bend in Dakota County. The bark houses they left behind were taken over by the families of fur trader Hazen Moores and his son-in-law, Andrew Robertson. Robertson renamed the island Grey Cloud for his mother-in-law, Margaret Moores, whose Dakota name was Grey Cloud Woman. Moores and Robertson built log cabins along the river and started growing crops, which they sold to the Kitchens at Fort Snelling. That same summer, another fur trader, Joseph Renshaw Brown, moved his family onto the southern part of the island. They were soon joined by several others, mostly former voyageurs of French-Canadian heritage and employees of the American Fur Company. Brown and Moores were both elected in the county's first election in 1840. Brown as Register of Deeds, Treasurer, and Surveyor, and Moores as a county commissioner. In 1856, Joseph Brown, St. Paul banker Truman Smith, and lumberman William Gallagher platted Grey Cloud City on the site of Brown's farm. Grey Cloud City was advertised as having 400 lots, a good steamboat landing, large store, warehouse, and blacksmith shop, but few settlers moved there. The Panic of 1857, which was a financial crisis in the U.S. that caused the stock market to plummet, businesses and banks to fail, appeared to have put an end to Grey Cloud City. While this settlement didn't materialize, there was an early industrial site in the township. Along the river, there was the Grey Cloud Lime Kiln, which dates back to at least 1846. It burned limestone rock to produce quicklime, used for mortar, plaster, and fertilizer. In 2014, the historic lime kiln partially collapsed due to storms. Today, the township remains a rural area with about 300 people calling it home.
The County Historical Society has lots of great information, so check out their website to learn more. We're back, wrapping up the show here at the Model Railroad Club. Tell me a little bit about the display. Has it changed over the years?
Yes, originally we were modeling the Rock Island between Estherville, Iowa and Sioux Falls, South Dakota with tracks running up to Worthington and Pipestone. But we had a lot of duck unders, and with us old guys, we decided that things had to change, so we are modeling a different area, which I explained earlier, and we got rid of all the duck unders. So we really rebuilt the center section totally.
So this is a really great thing for people here in South Washington County to come check out. What are some opportunities for them to come out and take a look?
Well, we're very fortunate that we have this space that the city allows us to rent it and that. It's a beautiful space and it's worked out really great for us. We've been here since about 1981 and we're open on Mondays and Fridays from 7 to 9 usually. Mondays are kind of our work nights. Friday would be the best time for people to come of the public to view the railroad, or if they're interested in joining, we can explain what we do and what it is that it costs to join. But Friday night would be a good night.
Ed, it seems like the guys that are working here have a lot of fun being a part of this group.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think it's such a great organization to be a
Well,
part of?
everybody gets to show their talents in scenery or laying track or programming a locomotive or painting cars and so forth, building buildings, so they can express their capabilities and have fun running the trains.
Ed, it's been so much fun being in here this month and being out last month checking out the tower. Thank you so much for all of this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We'll see you next month from the Great River Cities of Newport and St. Paul Park.